Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness.
Hi everyone, this is just a courtesy note for those of you that clicked on this episode because you are ready to get right into this free guided hypnosis meditation. You can feel free to skip right ahead to around the 23-minute mark. And for those of you that want to enjoy the conversation leading up to the free guided hypnosis meditation, carry on and enjoy.
Hi everybody, welcome to the 100th episode of Liberate the podcast. Today we're doing it a little bit differently. It's just me, no guest, but we're going to take you through an understanding of what Liberate is. I mean, you get an essence of it. You've been hearing about different spiritual coaches, teachers, mentors on every one of these episodes. Maybe you're tuning in for the first time today. And, a lot of people come and they are feeling like they're out of alignment from their self, okay? The whole mission of Liberate as a whole, whether it's Liberate Emporium, Liberate Hollywood, or whether it's through these episodes that you're listening to, is how do you rediscover yourself to step into who you truly are? And part of that is uncovering all of these blocks, obstacles, challenges that go in your way, and really defining and figuring out that they're happening for you. They're not happening to you. And we go through these different things in life, okay? And we go through these challenges, we go through obstacles, we go through all of this, and a lot of people get disheartened. A lot of people lose their passion, their will to keep on going. I personally went through it. I mean, the challenge of even having these two centers has been a lot. And when I say a lot, some people that know me personally know that it's been more than you could even imagine, okay? From conflicts to situations. And, you think that when you step onto a spiritual journey that it's going to be, if we look at the metaphors of like the tarot card, you think it's going to be all sunshine and, okay, yeah, I'm going to be enlightened. I'm going to find myself and things are going to be easier from here on out. But in reality, it's like the tarot card. Everything needs to fall down and deconstruct, and systems, issues, people, places, things fall apart, but they fall apart so that you can rebuild yourself. Okay, and when you're rebuilding yourself, it's a liberation. Okay, no pun on words, but I mean that's really what it is. And if you're tuning in right now, maybe there's something that's going on in your life. A situation, a problem, maybe you're going through a breakup, maybe there's somebody close to you that is sick or has recently passed away, or maybe you're going through a change of career, or any and all of that, or you're just realizing that, life and what you thought it was isn't what it really is, okay? And you're trying to rediscover, who are you? Who are you? What do you want for your life? And where do you want to take the next steps? And a lot of times that is found in when somebody's jumping onto a spiritual journey. It's these tools, it's these techniques, it's these aspects that really can help us, can heal us, can guide us in a way. But it's also, it's a perception shift. When we stop realizing and blaming others and blaming our past, blaming the problems that we have, and instead of saying these little sayings like poor me or I can't believe this is happening again, how do we change that? How do we shift that? How do we allow ourselves to fully take a step back and say, these situations, the Tower card that is happening in life on occasion is really making things better. I mean, because you can grab a house, right? You can move into a fixer-upper and you can readjust everything. You can cut doors out that make them bigger. You can end up reframing the windows. You can put new floor on. And sometimes it's easier just to bulldoze it and say, okay, I get to design it from scratch. And the interesting aspect is people forget that at any moment in your life, you can redesign your life, okay? You can say, is this making me happy? Do these people make me happy? Do I like these friendships that I hang out with? Or am I just hanging out with these people because, I've been friends with them for 10 years or they've been a part of my life, so I feel an obligation to it? we got to really work on reframing all of that and saying just because your past is an element of who you once were doesn't mean it is who you are or who you're becoming. Okay? And I think that that's the biggest lesson, is that when people are going through all of these changes in spiritual growth, is that there's this like kind of tethering to the things that they once knew. And there is this, oh, I'm going to make this work, or I'm going to hold on to this situation, this circumstance, this job, this career, these people in my life, and I'm going to try to force it to unfold in a certain way. And I want you to really reevaluate. I'm not telling everybody that they need to quit their job. I'm not telling everybody that they need to break up with the relationship that you're currently in, but I want you to reevaluate your life. I want you to take a few moments and actually, whether you do this after this podcast or while I guide you in a little bit into a state of relaxation and trance to kind of get you back connected to who you are. I want you to realize that if you can look at this as a metaphor, okay? Think about life as like this canvas. And oftentimes, everything that we do, we paint. It's a little brush stroke, it's different colors, okay? So we're saying, okay, this happened, a little paint stroke here, red here, black here, blue here, and you have this canvas. And what most people do is they continue to work with the canvas that they've gotten. They continue to say, okay, well, this is what has already been painted. How do I continue to maneuver it? How do I continue to manipulate it so that it can start to be the picture that I really want it to be? And that works sometimes. But we are the artists of our own life. In a way, we have every single color. You have every color available to you. You have every brushstroke. And you can work with what you got. Many people do. But I want you to also remember that among all of those colors that you have white paint too. And I use the color of white because it's like a blank canvas. And at any point you can take as big of a brush stroke as you want, but you can take the big one, you can take a paint roller for goodness sakes, and you can paint over it. You can paint over a part of it. You can paint over the entire thing. And I know what you're saying. Sometimes the scars are pretty deep, right? And it's like those dark colors on the canvas, and they shine through. If you've ever tried to go from a dark color wall and paint it white, you realize that you need a third coat, sometimes a fourth coat or a fifth coat, until you really can just see the purity of the white. And yeah, so sometimes it takes work. It takes repetitive action to say, you know what, I'm going to create a blank slate for myself. And so if you look at that and you say, okay, I'm looking at my canvas and there's parts of it that I don't want anymore, okay? And that I want you to feel the power within yourself that you can take whatever paint, you can paint it over, and you can really rediscover or create a new essence of you. And, you know, some people do this by moving across the country, or they do this by, you know, saying, okay, I am moving apartments, I'm moving houses, I'm going to move to a different state, I'm going to move to a different city, and that works. But if you don't change on the inside, you're not going to change on the outside. The things are going to still occur. And so how do we change? How do we allow ourselves to change? Is that we have to heal. We have to allow ourselves to say these tethered things that I talked about that you're tethered to in the past. How do you want to change them? And say, you know what, that was then. Well, the first part of it is you have to allow yourself to forgive people, places, and yourself. Okay? And say, in part of forgiving, what I found that works for me and what has worked a lot for my clients is that the art of forgiving is really realizing that it benefited you. Every single thing has taught us, it helped us grow. Even the misery that we went through has brought this beautiful lessons, growth, evolution, light to our life. And so when we can see and we can look at these people, situations, experiences, and we can look back over our shoulders, many times it's our parents, many times it's elements from our childhood, many times it's whatever it may be. But if you can look at it and say, you know what, this wasn't actually bad. Because this happened, this allowed me to move to the next lesson in my life. Because of this, I actually went down this path instead. And the moment that you can find even a thread of gratitude, one little thing that you can say that your life is completely different now as a result, and you found some element that you're enjoying, loving, and appreciating about who you are, you can let go. And so let's look at, for instance, let's look at parents, for instance, okay? Many people say, okay, if my parents were different or they were this or that, but maybe like the absentee parent, the parent that wasn't really there, didn't show you that much love, caused you to become extremely independent, right? And because of your independence, it allowed you to achieve whatever results it is in your life. Maybe it was the overbearing parents that caused you to really kind of rebel. And through that rebellion, you went down whatever rabbit hole of destruction, only to realize that that destruction, your worth and your value in yourself, you pulled yourself back forward and onto that alignment of saying, I need to take care of me, right? And these are just a couple different examples. There's thousands of them. You can look at a relationship and that big heartbreak in your life, and you can say, you can let it go and say, thank God that happened, because it led you to the next person or the next experience, or that period of solitude and singleness that caused you to achieve something, study something, have different types of experiences, build different relationships and friendships. But the point that I'm trying to make, that I'm really trying to drill in, is that your life is your life. And we forget that. We forget that we're in control. We're the steward at any given moment, especially now in our age and our time. You can learn anything, study anything at any different time. You can allow yourself to pull yourself into whatever it is that you want to do. And you're never too old, you're never too young. It's not this element of, oh, it's too late for me, or I can't do that yet, I don't know enough. It's about, like, every expert was once a beginner. And when we can pull away and heal from this tethered past and say, you know what, that doesn't have to tie me down anymore. That affected me before, but no more, right? And you see the gratitude in it, you see the appreciation, you can start to release that. And then you can say, okay, from here and from this place, I need to now release my own judgment on myself, because we often prevent ourselves from going after what we want, trying, asking, or even taking that first step because we feel that we can't, or we're not, whatever it may be. You fill in the blank. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not athletic enough. I'm not whatever it could be. And the bottom line is, so what? You might not be where you want to be at one point, but that's part of the journey, right? We're on this journey that, are you going to look around and see that you're not in a race to get anywhere? The most memorable moments of people's lives are oftentimes the experience of learning to do and achieve that, right? It's the meal can be rewarding, but it's cooking it and it's mastering it that is fun. Chopping the vegetables, doing this, doing that, and it's then, yes, the masterpiece is there and you can enjoy it. You can enjoy where you go and the destination of where you're getting to, but how can you also enjoy the steps? Because I guarantee if you go down memory lane, we are in a constant race of a carrot on a stick and we're chasing it, and the carrot on the stick and we're chasing it. And as we continue to go down that rabbit hole, so to say, we forget that to enjoy the moment, okay? So if you look back when you were a kid, okay, oftentimes the little kid that's in elementary school can't wait until if they're in the first grade, second grade, they can't wait until they're the older kid in elementary school, right? They can't wait until they're in fifth grade or sixth grade, depending on the school that you went to. And then there's this, oh man, I can't wait until I'm in junior high or middle school. And then junior high and middle school, there's this race to get into high school. And then from this race to get into high school, there's a race to be old enough to drive. And then there's a race to be a senior. And then from a senior, there's a race to the next chapter of your life. And then if you stop and you say, okay, well, from here, and you look back, you say, oh my God, there was something magical about being 6 years old. There was something magical about when I was in 5th or 6th grade. There was this magical moment about being that 7th or 8th grader, or that time when you were practicing behind the wheel and you were taking those driver's lessons, and that first moment when you actually got your car and you drove and it was fun, right? And then if anybody's driving now, especially in LA, it's like, oof. You'd rather pay an Uber to drive you around than drive, because it's that magic and that mystery of life has been taken away. And then, but it's this constant realizing that these elements in these chapters of your life, if only you appreciated them a little bit more and weren't in such a race to get to the next chapter. And so I would challenge you to say, what are you racing for and racing towards right now? And can you just take a moment and say, is there appreciation of being in this place of saying, okay, I'm in shambles, right? Maybe you're not in shambles, but maybe you are. And you can look around and say, okay, yeah, all the walls crumbled around me and I'm sitting here, but this is a magical place. Because this is part of your story. It's like if you look at your book of life, like every page, you don't just jump around when you're reading a story, and you don't just skip around in a movie. You watch it. And those scenes didn't get cut from the movie because they're so important to the storyline. They're so important to creating that next scene, and that next scene, and that next scene. And if we just stop for a moment and we say, okay, how do I look around here and appreciate that I might be at a beginner stage, I might be at a middle stage, I might be at an advanced stage, but it doesn't matter. We're at a constant growth stage. And there's nowhere that we really need to be, because the journey is now. And I often give people the metaphor when, so people might be watching this from all over around the country or listening to it, but there's for people that are native in LA and they've ever taken a journey from, there's Los Angeles to San Francisco has two main roads that people normally take, okay? And if you really want a scenic route, you take the one. And you allow yourself to enjoy that path, and you probably spend a couple days. You might take a stop in Big Sur or another beach town. You are going across the whole coast and you see the beautiful ocean on the left, the whole drive up. And you take your time. You stop, you enjoy, you look at the scenery, you're in awe going through the bends and the turns, but it does take a lot longer. But in that case and in that scenario, you don't care because you want to enjoy the journey. Now, there's another route that when people are just in a rush, it's the 5. And if anybody took the 5 up to San Francisco before, you know what I mean. It's just like nothing but like really desolate, and then there's a whole bunch of cow factories along the side. And, it's not as pretty, but it's going to get you there faster. And most of the time when people take the 5, they're just in that rush and they just want to get to their destination. And, that's okay too. However, are you wishing away your life, right? Is one way better or worse? Does it really matter whether you got to San Francisco a few hours early or a day early? Or does it matter that you have these beautiful memories that add to the story of these experiences in your life? And I give that as a metaphor because oftentimes we are so eager to learn that new thing, to start a business per se, and have it be where we foresee it being, for wanting that relationship to already be at the depth that we want it to be at. We bypass everything. We just, I gotta get there, I gotta get there, I gotta get there. And before we know it, we're missing out on some of the most magical moments. We're missing out on our magical life. And if we can allow ourselves to pull ourselves back and say, you know what, there is no hurry, there is no judgment. And it's what are you enjoying and how are you enjoying it? And can we re-look at that canvas that I started out saying and say, you know what, are there areas that you want to paint over? Are there areas that you want to keep? Are there pages in your book of life that you can slow down and you can stop judging yourself? And you can realize that you are already amazing, magical, perfect, even in your imperfection, right? And when we ever fall in love with somebody, you know what I mean, when they're almost like they're flaws or they're little silly things that maybe they don't do well, that we actually love about them. We love everything about them. And if we could only do that to ourselves and say, you know what, I'm going to allow myself to step into the power of actually just enjoying, embracing, and being me. And then we're going to do something called liberating yourself, which is the premise of these stories, this podcast, everything. It's about how do you allow yourself to be free in your own life? And oftentimes it is that simple. We make it difficult. We say that it has to be challenging or it has to be this torture, when even if everything is going wrong in your life, you have the power over how you perceive it. And you can look at things and you can say, you know what, that's not really that bad. The situation is okay. I can see that there's a lesson here. I can see that I'm growing. I can see that this challenge is making me stronger. I mean, when you go to the gym, you don't just grab the lightest weight and go like this and say, okay, I'm gonna build my muscle mass. No, you pull yourself to the point where you really can't do another crunch. And in that moment, when you allow yourself to fully exert yourself, you've become stronger. And so I guess what I'm trying to say here through all of this is, how do we slow down, reconnect with ourselves, allow ourselves to stop reliving a story that is in our mind of how the world or other people outside of you or even your own actions have wronged you and put you at a disadvantage in life? How do we allow you to tell yourself a different story, that those things, those people that have wronged you, those stories that you have told yourself, those experiences that you've went through, have actually created a foundation to make you even get to the next chapter of your life even sooner, okay? But being present to now in the work of building it, the journey of being in that moment. And with all of that, I want to take you through a little journey. I want to allow yourself to relax, to find the centeredness of yourself, to connect with yourself, and to, even for just a moment, feel the stillness of being present to the moment. And if you're okay with that, I would love to take you on a little journey. Now, I ask that if anybody's driving in a car that you don't listen to this next part. This is about allowing yourself to be in a seated or lay down position where you're comfortable, where you can just allow yourself to let go, that you're not going to be disturbed, okay? And so once you're comfortable and you know that you're in a safe position, again, this is not while you're driving a car. I know a lot of people listen to this podcast while you're in the car. Pause it here. You can allow yourself to listen to the front part, that's fine, but this part from here on out, let's just connect with you. I want everybody, if you could just get a little bit comfortable, okay? So if you're sitting down, sit down. You can go into a meditation pose if you'd like. You can put your hands up in an upward position, your palms up, allow you to be receptive, okay? You can also lay down. There is no right or wrong way. It's about how are you most comfortable. And I invite you to close your eyes, okay? And as you close your eyes, I want you to take a few moments to just become aware of where you're at, okay? I want you to pull yourself into yourself for a moment. And as you become aware of where you're at, I want you to notice the sounds that are going on around you. It's easy to hear my voice, but can you take your awareness even beyond my voice? Can you hear the stillness in the room? Can you hear other sounds outside of your room or outside, wherever it may be, outside of the four walls that you're in? And just notice what you hear. And allowing yourself to also start to notice subtleties happening in your body. Maybe just even noticing the awareness of yourself. When's the last time you allowed yourself to pay attention to your left foot or your right leg? And allowing yourself, as you pay attention to these, you can feel your body, you can feel where there's a little stiffness, and you can feel where it's relaxed. And allowing yourself to just notice. That's all this is about, is noticing you. And allowing yourself to notice you, and as you notice your body, your feet and how they continue, they point forward, your feet point forward for a reason. Because you're walking forward in life, you're not walking backwards. And allowing yourself to pay attention to how your feet work perfectly. And your legs, and your left leg feeling a little different than your right. And how each moment and each time you take a step forward, you're in a different place, you're in a different moment, you're in a different time. And as you become aware now of your breath, I like to look at breathing as this really powerful aspect that we're given as a gift. And it's a really great metaphor too. Because breathing is both conscious and unconscious. And as you allow yourself to pay attention to your breath, you can even control it. You can use your breath as this ability to breathe in very deeply, allowing yourself to breathe in relaxation. And you can breathe out very slowly, allowing yourself to let go of any stress, any tension, any negativity. As you breathe in and as you breathe out, I want you to notice that you're always trusting that there's another breath there. You're allowing yourself to know that there's always another breath present. And that's where the metaphor comes in. Because it's in life that you can trust that there's another day, there's another solution, there's another way. And it's oftentimes when we allow ourselves to let go. And just be in that flow of breathing in, taking that in, and then letting go. And if you've ever allowed yourself to take in a deep breath and hold it for a little bit too long, you can do it now if you'd like. And as you hold it, what happens is that same relaxing breath, that same powerful calming breath, starts to cause a little suffocation, a little tension, and it becomes a negative experience. And then you have to know that it's okay to release, to let go and to trust that there's another breath there waiting for you. And the analogy of here in life is that we have to allow ourselves to let go of things. That when we hold on to things for too long, they actually have a negative effect on us, just like that breath. They start to suffocate us. They start to hold us back. They start to cause problems. But we have to know that it's okay to let go. And as you let go, and as you continue to breathe in and as you continue to breathe out, allowing yourself to start to drift and dream away. Into a memory, to a time in your past of peaceful, calm, serenity, whatever it is. You can create real or imagined images inside of your mind. You can allow yourself to journey anywhere you wish. And if you'd like, you can think of some place like the ocean where the waves splash upon the shoreline. And there's something really peaceful about when you're present to just hearing the ocean waves. When you're present to just feeling the sun as it shines down, you can imagine all of that now. The way that the sun glistens on top of the waves, and how it splashes upon the shore and then pulls back, allowing you to relax even more. And there's that beautiful smooth surface where the waves splash to the shoreline and pull back, smoothing out the whole entire sand. And you can imagine right now that you write the letters in the sand of deep sleep. Maybe there's something about the E's, or maybe it's the P's. But there's something that puts you in an instant ease. And as you see those words, deep sleep, and you take a step back, you hear the next wave coming upon and splashing upon those words and pulling back, to leave a flat surface once again, as you start to pull yourself down into yourself. And you can see those allowing yourself to write that word again, deep, and to write that word again, sleep. And this time, as you feel each and every letter, and allowing yourself to step back and see it, letting yourself let go as the next wave splashes and flattens out those letters once more. And allow yourself to start to let go too. And I'm going to count down from 5 all the way down to 0. Now, on or before 0, allowing yourself to just drift and dream away. So 5 is a relaxing state. You felt this maybe before. Allow yourself to let go even more. Can you imagine what it would be like to be 10 times more relaxed? 20 times deeper, even deeper than that. As you let go to 3, down to 2, all the way down to 1 and 0, deeper and deeper, letting go. Let go. And as you let go, and as you allow yourself to connect right now to your heart center, feeling your heart beat in your chest, I want you to visualize and imagine, picture, pretend, connecting with the little you, the little childlike wonder and awe that's inside of you. The part of you that just knew that you were already perfect, just as you were. The part of you that wasn't afraid to learn and discover because you knew that was part of the journey. You didn't know things, but you knew you could do that. You knew with effort and energy, with a little bit of focus, that there could be anything new that you studied, anything new, hobbies that you wanted to challenge yourself with, you would do. And you allowed yourself to be okay. Making those mistakes, if you fell when you were learning to ride a bike, you just jumped back and you said, okay, here I go again. I'm going to learn how to balance. And you did it again and again and again. Sometimes some of you might have got it right away, and some it took a little bit of time. But you allowed yourself to live in that space of knowing anything was possible and knowing who you were without second thought. You allowed yourself to smile and laugh when you thought things were funny, to cry when you were sad. And you allowed your heart to guide you to your interests, to your passions, to the things that you wanted at hand. And we forgot that that part of you, that childlike wonder, is still you. We've just been detached from ourselves. Through the circumstances and situations that go on in our life, we forget who we are. We forget that this is a magic playground of infinite possibilities, of infinite opportunities. We forget that we're still learning. We are growing. That this world has so much to offer, and that it's even more magical today because you have the ability to allow yourself to navigate without the need to have your parents be the shepherd for you. That you get to do it. There are no no's anymore. There's just how can you figure out how to. And as you connect with that energy and you remind yourself that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, it doesn't matter how anybody responds, because that's going to tell you more about them than it is about you. Always. People's reactions, responses, their judgments, how they perceive you, it tells you more about them than it does about you. So how do we allow you to be free once again? To say, you know what, this new energy, this new navigation, I got this. This is my life. You forgot it maybe. I know that there's people in your life that might depend upon you, family, different aspects in your life, the elements that you feel responsible for. Don't forget that you're the number one person for you. We forget that. We forget that this is our life. You're the only one seeing through your eyes. You're the only one thinking with your mind. These senses, these 5 senses and the 6th sense that we all have, they belong to you. And allowing yourself to pull yourself back to that centeredness and say, is this the life that I wanted? Is this how I want to spend my days? Am I happy? Am I joyful? Can I add even more happiness and joy? Can I discover what is it like to be curious once again? To be curious enough that it pulls you into that new storyline. Because when we're curious, we want to know. If somebody tells you a big enough story about there's something magical behind that door, there's something super magical behind there, but I can't tell you what it is. But it's really amazing. It's so cool. It's so magical. It's the most magical thing that you could ever imagine or see in your life. Wouldn't you find a way to peek in? Wouldn't you find a way to break that lock? Wouldn't you find a way to find out how you could get inside of that room to see it? You would. And you have many times before. When the curiosity is strong, the willpower increases. And when the willpower increases, there is no, there is no I can't. You find a way. The door doesn't open? Okay. The window is too high. You need to figure out a ladder to look in. You need to break that lock. You need to figure out how you plan the 007 heist. You figure it out. Because that driving willpower, fueled by that curiosity, will bring you there. Now, are you curious? What would it be like to live your best life? Do you wonder what if you could really achieve that divine happiness? What if you could fall in love deeper than you've ever experienced? What would that feel like? What if you could allow yourself to experience whatever it may be? Travel, prosperity, wealth, abundance, happiness, joy, optimal health. Are you curious? What would that feel like? How would that experience be? Are you curious about those passions that are aside that you buried way back when you made sacrifices and compromises, and then you decided to make sacrifices and compromises for those sacrifices and compromises, and soon along the way, you didn't even know what sacrifice and compromise you were on, but that little beating heart of desire got lost in the shuffle way back in your brain. Can we bring that forward once again? Can we allow you to tell that story of your life, of finding a way, of navigating, of allowing yourself to say, you know what? Your life. Yes, yours. Your story. Do you like what you're telling yourself? Do you like the pages that you're flipping? Some people might say no. Some people might say some parts yes. Some people might even say yes, but then I challenge you, can you imagine what it would be if it was even 10 times that? Imagine the depth that you could take that relationship. Imagine the success that you could achieve. Imagine those lessons and those outcomes that you could manifest. Imagine the places and the things that you could do and see. I want to activate that curiosity. I want it to be like that room that has that magical existence inside of it, that most magical thing that you must see, that you're going to find a way to break in, to peek, to figure it out, so that you can figure it out for your own life. How do I let my heart lead? How do I tell myself a story that I'm done? I've experienced this. I know what suffering's like. I know what challenges are like. I know what obstacles are like. I want to know what ease and grace is. I want to know what joy and happiness and joy even magnified beyond what I could even imagine. And I'm curious. I'm so curious that my willpower is strengthened right now. Allow that willpower to be strengthened and say, you hold the key. That door is right there. You get to decide, are you putting that key in? Are you open it up? And are you going to walk through? To say you're free right now. It's only those thoughts that you once had that tied and tethered you to the old you. You're not even that person anymore. You're really not. Every single day you are a new person, and every single day is a new experience. Even if it seems sometimes like it's on repeat. I promise you it's a new experience. One that you've never played out before, a scene that you've never went through. Let's allow you to start to be present to those moments. Powerful once again. Knowing even if you can't control the circumstances, you can always control you. How you react, how you respond, and the steps that you take ahead. If you're driving and you allow yourself to get caught in a traffic jam, you can fall victim to you have to do that path, and poor you're stuck in this traffic jam. Or you can know that there's other options. You can respond to it a different way. You can navigate, you can turn left, you can veer off the highway, you can go in any way. Or you can utilize that time to catch up to old family or friends. But you hold the key. When you realize that the power isn't in the outside world, it's within your inner self, you become unstoppable. You become invincible. You become who you're meant to be. And allowing yourself to realize that it's time for you to be who you're meant to be. 7.2 billion people, maybe even more than that now on this planet. There's not another person that's like you. There's not another individual that's like you. And your uniqueness is your divinity, and it is your gift, and it's your divine birthright to allow yourself to navigate your own story the way that you wish. So let's untether you, and let's release the past. Let's realize that the stories that once were, you can let them all go. Let them out of your mind at last. And see that higher perspective and be happy with where you are right now, and knowing that everything that has been that led you to this moment has formed, shaped, and molded you a perfect masterpiece. It's only time that you see your perfection. You see the divinity in who you are. And you allow yourself to be proud. You allow yourself to be grateful for those lessons, for those challenges, for those old stories. And then you let it go. And you allow yourself to be free. Because you spent enough time in this jail cell looking out the window at everybody else living their life. It's time for you to do the same. To know that your story is divinely yours. And you hold the key. And I want you to visualize or imagine, picture, pretend that hovering right above your head, about 6 inches above your head, is this beautiful electric violet light. Now this electric violet light is your connection to your higher self, to your true self. Light and love and nothing else. It also has this keen ability to see the higher perspective, to see the whole life and the timeline of it. I kind of like to look at it as, oftentimes when we're in our body and we're looking through our eyes, it's like that regular view in a GPS, the street view. But when we ever want to see if there's different roads or how long the traffic's going to be or other routes or whatever the case, we click it to that bird's eye view. And then we see all that perspective. We see all the paths that we can take. And we see the whole journey in a higher form, in a view. And see, this part of yourself, this higher part of you already understands this. But we get disconnected. And I want to reconnect that aspect of you to you. And so as you see that light shining above your head, I want it to start to shine down into your mind. Seeping to your left hemisphere, your right hemisphere, filling your brain. And then seeping down behind your eyes, your nose, your cheeks, your jaw. This light just flowing through you. reminding you that you're so much more than your circumstances right now. You're so much more than the stories of your past. You're beyond all of that. You have the ability to create. You have the ability to learn. You have the ability to navigate, and there's so much waiting for you. And it all led you to this moment right now. Gratitude. And as that shines down into your heart, your shoulders, into your hands, down your back, into your hips, into your legs, and your ankles, and your knees, through your feet, connecting you with this higher knowing of yourself, with this part of you that understands, that can see how every piece has fit together like a beautiful jigsaw puzzle. See, that's our life. We get these jigsaw puzzles and we put them together, we pull a piece out of the box, and sometimes we get a piece that's really jagged. The color tones don't seem to match. And we think to ourselves, this piece can't be part of this masterpiece. This piece doesn't fit, it doesn't belong, it doesn't even match. But if you just set it down and you allow yourself to trust, from that higher perspective, all the pieces are fitting in. And that piece, that jagged piece that hit you from time to time, that looked like the color palette didn't blend in, it was the part that was creating the shadow that brought the whole image to life. And it fit perfectly. And you got to trust that these elements, sometimes you don't know how things are all playing together to create what is this next masterpiece. But when we can appreciate every moment and be present and not be so much in a rush, the one thing with certainty that you can count on, the only thing with certainty you can count on is change. And so you know your life is changing. You know tomorrow will be different than today. And you know movement forward will always be. So you don't have to worry about whether you're going to change or shift or whether this problem is going to stay forever, because it's not. With certainty, you know it's going to shift. And you can allow yourself to trust instead, to navigate and feel. And as you bring yourself back to your centeredness, I want you to take in a few inhales of calmness and a few releases. And acknowledge that today is the day that you decided that you're the most important person in your life. And today is the day that you realized that it's okay to let go of anything and everything that doesn't serve you. And that from here on out, it's being present to yourself and allowing your heart to guide you, because this life, this one's yours. You get to live it. You get to tell that story. You are the one writing that story. You just forgot, but not anymore. As you give yourself back that power and you allow yourself to be free, and you realize that here in this moment, you hold infinite possibilities. Get excited. Allow curiosity to guide you, and allow yourself to move forward with this love and grace. And as you allow all of this to integrate deep within you, I'm going to wake you up in just a few moments. I want you to take that all in. And each night, regardless of the day and regardless of the emotions that you've experienced, when you decide that it's the right time to fall asleep at night, I want you to fall asleep deeply and quickly and sleep well through the night. And in those early morning dreams, what are known as venting or releasing dreams, I want you to vent out any remaining blocks or resistance, any tension or stress, any attachments to the old. Say, I've been there, done that, lived that story. I'm creating a new tale. And free yourself. And realize that there's nothing to prove to anyone. There's only you to live for your happiness and your truth. When you find that and you get curious about how magical that can be, and you allow yourself to get curious about what those experiences will feel like and be like, that amazing willpower inside of you gets charged up, allowing you to find the solutions, the energy, the magic synchronicities that will come together to support you to creating these beautiful aspects, passions, desires, and experiences in life. You deserve it. You deserve yourself to live your life, to be happy, to be free. Let go. So 0, going even deeper. 1, closing the door to the unconscious mind, making sure all the suggestions are locked in and effective. And at 2, becoming aware of your body. Because at 3, a total sense of positivity floods through every cell. 4, becoming aware of the room around you. And 5, I want you to slowly come back awake. You can open your eyes if you'd like. You can wiggle your hands, your feet. And allowing yourself to feel a little lighter and freer. And in that space of feeling light, feeling free, feeling this energy, your truth, you. And so I want you to allow yourself maybe to sit with this for a little bit, to allow yourself to journal, to think about what is those heart desires, what are those things that you really want to bring into existence, and how can you change and shift the things in your life to let go of the things that haven't been serving you. People, places, circumstances, situations, shed them, be free. You can change, you're not tethered to anything. And allow yourself to have that power once again. To be free, to be you. Because this world doesn't need you to be a clone of anybody else. Your unique divinity and uniqueness and purpose, that's yours. And so start to step into it so you can show and you can be this uniqueness that out of every person that has ever lived or will live or is currently living, you're the only you. Express it, be it, feel it, and allow this magical world. There's so much to learn, to see, and to do. And the more you learn, the more you see, the more you do, the more you realize that there's so much more. And allowing yourself to jump into that childlike wonder and to have that excitement and joy for life again. Because it's there when you tap into it. There's so much there if you allow yourself to feel into that. Thank you. Until next time, allow yourself to really sit with this, listen to this a few more times if you like, and asking yourself all of those questions.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.
If you're thinking that you want to take that action step, why wait? Book your session right now. Go to liberateyourself.com, click on either Liberate Hollywood or Liberate Emporium, see our amazing practitioners and who resonates most with you. And then book a session via Skype, phone, or in person. We're here for you, and it's your time to start creating your life.